So, hello. Well, this is going to be a complimentary video for my blog posts. I want to explain to you a bit of why I am doing this and not just a blog post. But in the blog posts, you will realize that the information I wrote is not such as deep and it's not really that much telling how it is that I have felt in the courses. But since I have so many friends around the world, and I thought that it would be nice to tell everybody how it is that we learn here in Finland. And many of them have even asked me, like, hey, why don't you write about that? And I would like to know a bit more. And who knows if at some point my posts are going to inspire somebody to come here to Finland and study. So that's why I decided to do that. And well, I was trying to make like a brainstorming first of the topics I wanted to talk to you about, but I thought that I didn't want it to do it just like that, because at some point I know that some things are going to come to my mind and I will totally forget what I was talking about. So I'm pretty sure one thing is going to lead to the other thing, so I want to do it like that. But first, I want to start talking a bit about the orientation days. I was very pleased because at least in Costa Rica we don't have such a thing. We don't have tutors. We don't have this type of guys who come and tell you everything that there is to know about your school. You're pretty much supposed to kind of know that. So it's really bad in the way that you need to do it yourself at first when you start school. Of course there is orientation days, but here in Finland it was so nice the way they welcomed you, that even the principal of the university spoke to us, that we had so much activities as a group as first to get to know each other. And it was also very nice, this folder with all of those things that we are supposed to need at first, like the list of the courses and the student associations. It was really like more than I expected the orientation days would be. I feel that well, the days, let's say, were like a bit too long and a bit too heavy sometimes, in the way that there was like so much information at once that you were getting about what you were going to do at school and the student things and all that. But I don't think there is any other way that could have been done, for example. So I was very pleased with the orientation days, and I was also very pleased to see like the diverse class that we have. There is like people from everywhere, and I was so excited already to know that well, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a challenging year because, well, since everybody comes from different places, you never know what's going to come up. And yes, so that was that. Then the other thing that I want to talk to you about was from the time they told us that we were going to have this study trip. I feel that I would have liked to, let's say, already know at a very early stage that we were going to have this study trip, that we would have to pay for it, that, for example, at some point we would need formal or, let's say, casual clothes, that we were going to have company visits and all of this, because you never know people's situation. You never know how their money situation is, their family situation is, and all of this. So, and I know I'm saying this just because, well, my parents are not here and I am a single mom. So I'm kind of already looking too much ahead what it is that I need to do. And I don't like to be running with things like, oh my god, I have to pay this, and oh my god, I have to go and buy formal clothes for this sort of thing. So that was the only thing that I felt at start that I would have liked to know, that I needed money to go on this trip. and that I already needed to buy some business casual type of outfit because we were going to have all of these company visits. So, for example, that could have been something the tutors could have mentioned, because so then you could have started already thinking about that. And I noticed it from many of our classmates. Many of us don't have this type of clothes. So I remember everybody had to borrow everybody, and it's also that you have to see this as, let's say, an investment, because you will need to use these clothes from now on, because since we are in school, and I feel that the way we work with projects and all that, this is like a working environment. So it would have been nice to know about that hey, you need to buy this type of clothes and we are going to have this trip. Of course, it's not mandatory, but we would really like you to come. That was that. Then the other thing about when they gave us the chance to choose the destination, I feel that, well, as I understood from our teachers, the purpose was to go all together somewhere, doesn't really matter where, have some company visits, see how some businesses work related to the tourism business, and also to spend some time together as a group. Well, I'm sure you heard all of the stages we went through to finally decide where we were going to go. First, it was going to be Stockholm, but I felt this was kind of unfair, let's say, for the foreign students who have never been to Stockholm, that all of the Finnish students kind of stepped up and said like, no, we don't want to go to Stockholm because we always go there. And I voted for Stockholm at first, and I wanted to go there because I had made like some short research of the companies that were there, and I thought it would have been nice to see like that type of business here in the Nordic countries. Because, for example, we are going to do this Matka fair, and it's going to be for the Nordic area. So I would have wanted to focus on this area, but, well, I felt that it was kind of unfair at first that people started saying, no, we don't want to go there because we have always been there, and it was too expensive. But, well, honestly, I feel and everybody knew that was not the case. And then since we didn't go there, then we chose Tallinn. And I would have been totally fine with going to Tallinn, and I know many people as well, but of course Finns go there too much. So it's like, well, we are here in an international environment, and if we are going to think the things that we are going to do just because the Finnish people have done it already, then it's like kind of unfair, I felt. But I really didn't want to say anything, because since we were starting, I didn't want it to be seen as the person who already starts complaining so much about these sort of things. And well, we ended up choosing Riga, and I was really fine with the decision because most of the people hadn't been there, and I knew that it was going to be cheap for us as well. But oh, I forgot to mention that after Stockholm we chose Prague, but I am in the logistics team, so at first we had so much issues because the prize that we had gotten during the presentations from the team that was going to get information about Prague, then it was not so accurate, because of course that the fare tickets, they are going to get more expensive after 1 month, and nobody thought about that. Like, hey, it's not going to be 130 euros anymore, but it's probably going to be around 200, what is going to cost us flying to Prague. And we kind of had in mind that everybody would spend up to 250 euros, including the flight ticket plus the accommodation and the food, as an example. So it was not inside the budget we had, and we kind of wasted time there because well, we knew that we were not going to get such a cheap price for all of the 40 students, because even with group bookings are always more expensive rather than the individual price for the ticket. But this is something that we learned only once we started planning for the trip. So that was like a good learning experience. Group tickets are, in this case, are more expensive than individual flight tickets. So that was that. But overall, after that, since we already had that experience of that, we already knew that with flying things, the prices are more expensive if we are like a big group. Then we knew that if we were going to go to Riga, flying was not going to be also the best option, because we didn't have that enough time in advance where we could make a booking and that it would be cheap enough. It was still expensive if we were going to fly to Riga, so that's why we decided to come up with something new, and we decided to go there by boat and then by bus. And that was the cheapest option, and we were there for 1 whole week. And the company visits were quite useful. And whoops, sorry if the computer went black, but since I don't touch this thing, if I don't touch this thing, then that's what's going to happen. So yes, I was saying, this was a good learning experience for us to plan ahead what it is that we want to get from the trip, what it is that teachers want us to learn from the trip, how much everybody can spend on the trip, the transportation methods available, like kind of ask ourselves questions and then find answers and then work on that. The other issue that we kind of faced was the thing that at some point our team leader wasn't assigning tasks to everybody, and for example, the team leader and his assistant, they were doing most of the work at times, and the rest of the team members, we would try to see what it was that we could do or any way we could help them, and they had already done everything. We also had the situation where everybody was doing the same thing, and then we would come to meetings and we would realize that we wasted time, 2 people doing the same thing, or somebody not doing something, or somebody doing way too much. So we kind of had this issue that I felt that we needed to divide tasks, then come to the meetings and work with the results of those tasks that we had a bit more in order. But we learned from that, and hopefully in our future projects like this, when it's going to get better, or at least for the Matka Travel Fair, we have been working like that. We all get our tasks, we have the meetings, and we give the team leader our results for that. So that has been quite efficient in that way after we had that learning experience with the study trip. The other thing, overall in class I have felt really fine. My classmates are very nice. Of course, I must say that there is some people that I really haven't had the chance to approach, but everybody already, they have like their own group of friends, and they are always hanging out together and all of this. But I feel that I get along well with everybody. Of course, I believe there is some girls I don't really have that much interest in in getting to know, but in the way that I talk to everybody and I get along with everybody, I do. And yes, that is that. When it comes with the teachers, I'm also very pleased. The only thing I really have to say about what I didn't like is that and it's nothing personal, because of course I know it's part of his job, but for example with our teacher Kalle, that is not with us anymore. I felt that is not nice for us freshman students, that we start with one teacher and then we have to change for another teacher, and then whatever we were learning with him kind of has to be postponed for the next year. I found that like quite messy, and I don't think sort of this type of thing should be happening when students are just starting their studies. I know that we have to be um, able to, how do I say it, adapt to different situations and all of this. But overall, for example, in some of his courses, I have felt that we have kind of needed more his help, that we have needed like our teacher to be there for us. For example, when we have been doing this budget thing, we were supposed to come up with a business idea and then make like the whole budgeting process for that business. So it was, at least for me, I found that very difficult because you kind of needed to have some knowledge about basics of economics. And so I felt that the way that he kind of explained everything was not very understandable because, for example, we didn't started the course by knowing the basic things. Like, he just threw lots of terms to us and we were kind of already supposed to know about that. And of course you kind of get up to date with all of that. At least I try to read something about it, so you kind of know what it is, what he was talking about. And so in that sense, it's always a bit confusing if it's inquiry learning. Like, do we even need the teacher to be there if then we are supposed to do everything ourselves? And if we don't understand something, then it's on us. So that's maybe one part of the inquiry learning I haven't understood yet, because I feel that we need the teachers to sometimes tell us at least what it is, what they want us to learn, and explain a bit first. Because I mean, most of the people there in class, they just came out of high school, and I'm sure many of them have felt quite lost with such a big change, that before they had the teacher there explaining things, and now there is a teacher in the classroom who assumes that you know what he's talking about, and that's not the case. But it's also like a good learning experience, because at least for me, if you are really interested in what you are studying, which is tourism, then you will probably find your own means to learn a bit more, and not just sit there and, okay, I don't understand, so well, that's it. Like, I do really try to learn, and if there is something I don't understand, of course I go and ask to the teacher, because that's also why he's there. Well, another thing about classes with him is that we had developing business skills. I don't know anything about this class. I don't know if anybody else feels like this, but I don't feel we learned something. Developing business skills. Yes, I want to develop my business skills. I want to be a better business person. How do I make business with Finns or with Scandinavians or in the Baltic countries? Like how there is nothing. There is no reflection I can do about this course. There is just nothing about that. Then, business math. I'm really pleased that I'm actually have been able to get good grades in math. It's not really that difficult because all of the calculations are very simple. Let's say the tough part comes when you have to try to understand what it is that you are reading there. Okay, so that's always the difficult part, to try to see what it is that the problem is asking you to solve, and then you can apply the formula and make the calculation, and then you get the right result. But it's a very easy course. I think the teacher, she explains everything very clearly. And yes, so business math. Then the courses that we have with Ivan, with you. So it is responsible self-management, English communication, and professional communication. Well, I think they really have been wonderful, and I don't really say it just because you're my teacher, but because it is so funny that in schools, I feel that in the curriculum, they always forget how important it is to polish your, let's say, your professional communication a bit more, how do you speak in public, how do you work in a multicultural team, all of these really small things that really have an impact on your student years. And then when you will go to work, you really need to know this, otherwise you're really going to, well, to suck at it. Like in Costa Rica, yes, you go to university, you make presentations, but nobody ever tells you what you have done good or bad. Teacher just puts you a grade. And it has been really nice to learn the whole feedback thing, because it is very interesting how I thought giving feedback was before taking this class, which is like, you're just not supposed to say something is good, because good can mean anything. It's like such a general term. You need to be more specific what it is that the person did well, why, what can the person do better. Like now that we have went through this feedback thing, now I feel that I can really be able to provide good feedback to somebody. And so I have learned that it's really funny, because nowadays or at least I have heard also from many of my classmates, we have become like so conscious about every time we see somebody talking in front of the class, like you're like, okay, no, that person has not really done the job that he was expected to do. I think his voice tone was too low, he was speaking way too fast. Like you already start thinking about all of that before coming here to school I never thought of. Like I just thought the normal stuff, it was good, it was bad, and that's it. So that's what I had to say about that. And also when I had the chance to make this presentation and get feedback, I remember that you said something that it was a really good presentation, but that I looked too likable. And that kind of, well, made me think a lot that here in Finland that could be a problem, because I'm not sure being too likable here in Finland means that people think that you are weak or too naive, and I don't want to be taken as if I am too weak or too naive. So I kind of need to work a bit more on that, to stop being so like smiley and oh my god, well, whatever, I don't know what I was going to say there, but I understood the idea of why you said I looked too likable. And now that you said that, I realized that I need to look a bit more professional in the way that I need to stop smiling so much, and I don't know, maybe being so chill every time I make a presentation, because that's really going to have an impact in my life here in Finland, because I'm not really sure yet if people feel so comfortable when there is this type of person who just, enjoys life too much and is always so happy and is always smiling. I kind of think maybe they see that as a threat. Well, there is that. The other thing was, well, the vocabulary. Another reason of why I decided to keep on writing this blog is because I realized that after reading some other blogs, my vocabulary is really bad, in the way that I don't have any professional or technical terms that I can be able to use when I'm writing. I have this type of vocabulary that is always like really understandable for everybody, and I don't have a way to stand out from the crowd when I'm writing something. I'm not sure if you understand what I mean, but there is so much, or you can change the way you say something so much, but by, let's say, looking for synonyms of words that you commonly use and make that sentence sound totally different and maybe even more professional. So I think this whole thing of writing the blog is going to help me develop my vocabulary more. I will try to use more synonyms for words that I commonly use, and will try to come up with something a bit more technical and professional. And yes, that's what I have to say. And the other thing is that well, I'm not sure if it's because the groups are too big, but for this type of courses that we have with you, I feel that as students, since this is mostly about what you are doing in class, well, most of the time, many people don't really have the time to show off themselves, and that then you can be able to tell them what it is that they are doing good or bad, because we are so many, like 40 students, and when we make presentations, it's always nice if, okay, of course we are reading about the topic and then some of us present, but some people, they never really get the chance to show off in front of you, and so you can tell them what it is that they have been doing good or bad. And it's also the thing that it has been a bit hard for me sometimes to, because we start these classes with you after lunch, I believe, and all the way sometimes till 5:45. So it's very for this type of things that we are doing that are very practical, it sometimes it has gotten like really tiring. And I think it would have been nice to, for example, divide some of those classes during the week, so it's not so heavy to have them all the three together. So that's the only observation I have about those three courses. But I really felt that I have learned a lot, and there are so many things I have realized with all of the things you have explained to us, like the whole tattoo thing. Well, because I have tattoos, so, well, if I would have known before. And yes, also working in a multicultural team, like everything that we have been learning in your class, we have been able to apply it in the project we have been doing. So it has been really helpful, at least for me. Then with the other courses, well, ICT, it's a very easy course for me, because I don't know if I mentioned it, but last year I was taking some courses there in Pasila, because since I couldn't come here to Porvo yet, then I wanted to start doing something, studying something. So I was taking some courses, and I had already taken ICT, but, well, I decided to take it again because, well, it's never bad to learn something twice. So yeah, I think ICT has been fine. I can tell you that the way we learned ICT there in Pasila and here in Porvo are really different. The teacher there in Pasila, I think the courses were a bit more complicated in the way that she showed us way too much things that we can do. For example, in Excel, PowerPoint, like there was so much all the time. Like I never ever wanted to miss a class with her, because I would feel totally lost if I would miss a class with her. But now here in Porvo, like we have been learning so little, only like the surface things, the basic things you learn in Excel and all that. So the exams have been really easy, and I have been getting good grades. So, well, I'm very pleased with that. Then let's say, what other courses we had, because I kind of forgot right now. But wait, let me check, because I was supposed to be looking here what else there was. Well, I'm not taking Finnish because I took those in Pasila. So right now I'm waiting for Finnish 3 to come up. But I really have also been going to some of these Finnish classes because I don't know, it might sound very nerdy to you, but I really like learning. And the reason of why I still go to some of these Finnish classes, even though I already have the credits, is because when it comes to a language, there is always something new to learn. Like I don't care if I have already taken those courses, but let's say the way Antti teaches is very different from my previous teacher there in Pasila. So I have learned a lot from him, and it's also that when it comes to a language, you really have to do that continuously. Like I didn't want to wait till this Finnish 3 course would be open again next semester, because, well, you kind of forget things. So I have been going there when I have had time to go, and yeah, but I really like the whole language thingy. Then, well, okay, I already spoke to you about your courses. This customer oriented sales. Well, with Lena, we have learned some nice things. For example, the travel management company process, how it is that these companies work. Like, let's say when a business wants to have a business trip, and so sometimes it is so much people that they don't feel like doing all this by themselves, so they hire a company, and the company is in charge of doing this. I didn't even know this type of companies existed, for example, but it would be very nice if when I finish studying I could work in one of these companies. So in that way it was good to know about this, because now I know a side of tourism that I didn't even know it existed so much nowadays. So it was good to learn about the travel management companies and how they operate, and yes. So that's what I kind of have to say about customer oriented sales. Plus, well, we have also had some workshops, for example, about how to be a good salesperson. Well, I have some experience of, let's say, sales over the phone, but this is totally different from sales face to face. So we have had some workshops about that, and I even have the chance to sell something. Let's say they're in class with Teresa, and well, she gave me feedback, and well, it was a very interesting class about how you actually get to sell something, and you don't want to sound too pushy and all of that. But yeah, that was also an interesting workshop we had. Well, tourism business in a global context, I think it is the class I enjoyed the most, because it is the main reason of why I decided to start tourism. Like, we have been learning so much about all the famous worldwide destinations, also like about the UNESCO sites. And well, since when you are interested in studying something and you have a course where you are able to learn more about all of this, it kind of motivates you to keep on making that learning by your own all the time, and reading all these travel sites. And yeah, and it was also very eye-opening to see how big tourism is worldwide. And I even think people don't think tourism has such an important impact, let's say, on the, as I mentioned in my blog, on the global GDP, and that 1 out of 11 jobs is for tourism. That says a lot, and I think is an industry that is going to keep on growing a lot year by year. And I really feel pleased that I chose this as my path, because I feel that it doesn't matter where I go, I think I will always have a thing to do when it comes to tourism, like hotel chains, restaurants, the travel management companies. You could be there is like so much when it comes to tourism, and I just seem to enjoy it all as a whole. And yes, so I was very pleased with this course, and well, I also got good results from it. And well, what else can I say? Well, I wanted to talk a bit about the Matka Travel Fair. That, well, I really wish I would have chosen a different team, because I would have liked to do a bit more. I'm not saying that I haven't done anything, but well, the logistics team, since we have organized a study trip, and pretty much after that, what we have done is just the schedules and any bookings if we have had to go somewhere. For example, now that we were to the Studia Fair, we had to make a booking for the bus. So we have done like really small things that really don't require that much people doing them. So I don't like the feeling of being on a team where there is so little to do that only a few end up doing those things, because it is not really necessary to have five people working on a bus booking. If you understand me what I mean, it really makes no sense. So I would have liked to have chosen a different team if I would really have known that we were not really going to be doing that much. And well, I also tried to offer myself for these other teams if they need any help, because I don't know if you have heard, but I had already made my bookings to go to Costa Rica with my daughter, and I will be coming on the 18th of January, which is the day when the fair is over. But the whole thing of changing the dates of the flight would have costed me money, and I really didn't have money for that. So well, I'm supposed to be making some report after I come back, but I have been trying to offer myself to help everybody there in their teams if there is anything I can do, because I don't really like the feeling of not having anything to do. And overall this semester, that's how I have felt. I wish there would have been more work for me, because it has been very, very how can I explain it, not easy but not demanding enough. And I am already looking forward to next semester, so I can start having, let's say, more important roles in class, and things where I can really not show off, but things where I can get out of my comfort zone and start struggling and feel that I am really learning like a bit more, that I am finally taking out the juice of the things I am doing. So that is how I have been feeling this whole year. But overall, I am pleased. And I forgot to mention something. I even have a paper here, which was I think it was the best moment of the whole year. We had this workshop, I believe it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. There was this, I made my notes here. It was, we had this girl, she has been studying in Haaga-Helia, she graduated from Haaga-Helia. Her name is Vera Papinoja. Well, I think it was such an inspiring presentation, the one she had, that was also another motivation to keep on writing my blog. I'm not sure if you know too much about her, but well, in all of the things that she mentioned, the thing that kind of hit me the most was that, wait, let's see, so I can tell you a bit more about it, was that, yes, that as a professional you need to micro specialize, that there has to be something that people know you for. Like, and Vera, she is known for being really good with social media, and she even won at some point the best travel blog from Asia here in Europe or something like that, but it was like a big recognition. And so she said that that's what she did at first, that she tried to look for her personal brand and she tried to put that out there. So, like, I don't want to be a person that kind of knows it all, but there is nothing concrete that you can say about me, like, okay, Kim, she's really good at this. And so that is one thing that I really want to start discovering now, and that's why I want to start trying all of these things. For example, being more active on Instagram, well, on social media overall, writing this blog, like everything. I have this book here, well, this one. Like, I really like to do these things because I want to discover what it is that calls my attention the most, what it is that I feel that I might be really good at, and once I discover that, to really start building my career from there. But it was also the thing that she kind of opened my eyes, because there is so many things that you can do in the tourism business that you really don't know till you actually are out there looking for a job. And what happened to her was that she had so many good job offers all the time that at points she even had to turn down offers. And so I feel that I kind of want to be like her in a way that, well, I need to find out who I am and what it is that I can do can be helpful for the tourism industry, that people will fight for me, fight for having me in their business, or even if I will have my own business, what it is that people will want to be my partner and things like that. So I think it was a very helpful speech, the one she gave, and I really like the school when they do this type of things, that they bring these type of people and that kind of that really inspire you to do something big with your career, and not just going to school learning. And you have to start building your career from the time you are in school. Like, you have to start doing things a bit different, and not just being there like on the low profile side of thing. Like, you need to find ways to stand out, and you need to work hard. So that was the, I would say, the highlight for my semester, Vera Papinoya. And yeah, I think that is it. It's been quite a long video. I hope you don't get bored, and I'm really hoping to get feedback from this, because I would like to know what you have to say, and I hope you didn't get bored, because it's kind of a long video, 41 minutes. And well, I hope that you can also keep on following my blog, because I will keep on writing more things. I'm even planning to make a post about this presentation we had from Vera, and well, there I will write all of these notes, because I think it's useful for people to learn about what she had to say. And yeah, so hopefully next year is even a better year, and I get to learn more and more new things. But this is for now, so take care, have a good Christmas and Happy New Year's, and bye bye.